down the basement, lock the cellar door, and baby, talk bloody to me.
Spoiler alert, it's time for a new episode of Talk Bloody to Me. Hi, I'm Matt.
And I'm Breezy.
And we're here. I always say spoiler alert, usually fairly early in the episode. Thought I'd get it out of the way right away this time. But this week we have another one of my favorites, a fan request. We're going to be talking about the movie Southbound. But first, we're also going to be talking about Five Nights at Freddy's because of our continuing saga to feature everyone that's going to be at Crypticon, Minnesota this year.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on what are your first impressions on Five Nights at Freddy's, Breezy?
When I first watched it, I kind of got confused. I already know it was like a video game, and my son plays it like all the time. Well, when it was popular, and like he would like talk about it, and finally the movie came out. Well, I watched the movie because I was kind of curious what he was playing, even though I know the characters. And then when I watched it, I kind of got confused what the hell was going on. And a lot of people are saying if you have not played Five Nights at Freddy's, you will not get it.
Go ahead.
So yeah, that's correct.
I think that's exactly what happened to me. Full disclosure, I have never played any of the Five Nights at Freddy's video games. I know there's a few of them. And I know that there's YouTube videos that go way in depth into like the storyline and the theories and the lore. And so I know that there's a lot of people that are really into this and that there's a really complicated story. And I think the movie doesn't do any of that any justice because as someone that hasn't ever played the games, I thought it was boring and dull and slow and just kind of stupid, to be honest with you. Sorry, I apologize to all the Five Nights at Freddy's fans.
I do like the characters. Oh, it's like life size. I do like that, and I do like the robotic type deal. I just wish that they would kill a little bit more.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if it's because that's how they do it in the video games. They don't really kill as much.
Right.
I don't know. I can't say because I have not played the video game, but
right. Is it rated R? It almost feels like it was rated PG-13. I didn't even check.
I don't know. I haven't really looked. It feels like it's a rated PG-13.
Here, I'm going to look right now. But what the storyline is basically, doesn't it say the rating on IMDb? We're learning this in real time. Anyway, so forget the rating. The storyline is a guy, when he was a little kid, his little brother got kidnapped right in front of him. He has nightmares ever since. He gets hired to work in what's basically a Chuck E. Cheese, but it's it's Freddy's Pizzeria, and there's animatronic robot animals that sing. There's a bear, a rabbit, a chicken, and a fox, and a little cupcake.
Did you say bear? The bear?
Yeah, Freddy.
Okay.
Freddy's the bear, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, and then
we might get these characters wrong, but
right. I think there's Bonnie the bunny, Chica the like chick bird, and Foxy the fox. That's kind of like seems like he's half rotten away for some reason.
And then there's if I have like a favorite character, it probably would be probably like the Foxy or Chica if I have to like pick.
I agree with you completely because Freddy and Bonnie look too much the same, and they both look soft and fuzzy and cuddly, even though they're big chunky robots that go clank 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 and make weird noises, but they still look kind of soft and cuddly and like stuffed animals. But you know, Chauncey Bear from Imaginary is almost more creepy than them. But
right, facts.
But Foxy has like the piece of his fur missing and he has like a hook for a hand, and so he looks a little bit more dangerous. And then Chica has teeth and is a bird, and anytime you give teeth to something that's not supposed to have teeth, that's freaky to me.
It's kind of like a killer big bird.
Right, it is actually a killer big bird. I was gonna say, if you don't believe me about the teeth, just listen to our teeth episode or look up
God. Yeah.
Because whenever there's teeth or there's not supposed to be teeth, it's a scary thing.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to Google big bird with teeth and see if anyone's ever done that, because that sounds freaky to me.
Oh, yeah. Oh fuck.
I
Yeah,
know Kermit the Frog with teeth is pretty freaky. Do yourselves a favor and Google Kermit the Frog with teeth later.
or Big Bird.
Or Big Bird. Probably be scarier than the entire movie of Five Nights at Freddy's. But does the cupcake have a name? There's like a little cupcake that flies around.
Oh hell if I know. Last time I seen it was probably like when it first came out.
Okay. It came out in last year, 2023.
Yeah, last year, yeah.
Yep. And so the guy, he gets hired to be a security guard. The robots are crazy. He has his sister, like younger sister that he's trying to take care of. He meets a cop that kind of helps walk him through it. The robots seem kind of dangerous. And then pretty soon the girl starts playing with them, and you find out that these are robots possessed by the ghosts of dead children that were kidnapped. And the guy keeps having dreams about it, like with his brother that got kidnapped. And this is somehow all related. And so he's trying to use them to solve the mystery of what happened to his brother. And his sister just wants to play with them. The cop lady seems unusually interested in them. And it all comes to a head. And you find out that the cop lady's dad, spoiler alert, was the creator. He murdered the kids. And not only are the kids possessed, or the robots possessed by the ghosts of the kids, but the dead kids' bodies are actually in the robots, which I thought that was the coolest part of the whole movie. Not that dead kids is cool, but that's just like a neat idea.
I just like the pizza joint, really, because it looks kind of creepy, and it kind of reminds me of Pizza Hut.
Yeah.
It really does. It reminds me of Pizza Hut. Even though, actually, no, scratch that. Pizza Hut and Chuck E. Cheese, like all in one.
Definitely, especially like a 80s Pizza Hut when they had like video games and stuff. And man, pizza breadsticks, so I should go for them right now. I got carried away.
Yeah.
I was getting on a sidetrack there. And so that's about really, I mean, there's only like a couple killings, and usually the camera cuts away and you don't see anything. Probably the coolest killing in the whole movie is there's a woman that kind of like sticks her head in one of their mouth and it bites them literally in half. But even that's kind of like in shadow, or it looks kind of weird.
Yeah. So there's going to be two celebrities that are going to the con, and that's Jess Wells, and she played Chica.
Okay.
And then you got Kevin Foster, which he was Freddy Fazbear.
Yep.
So they're going to be at CryptoCon. So and then also I was reading up on the whole movie timeline, how they did it. And the one thing that's actually stood out to most is Foxy, skeletal, lifelike structure type deal was built on a full body animatronic puppet type deal that performed.
Oh, cool.
By Russ Velko is the name.
Okay.
And with a group of puppeteers, and they're actually from Jim Henson's Creature Shop. So that actually kind of actually was really intriguing for me.
Yeah, that is actually really interesting. Now that you mention it, because the show Dinosaurs, which we mentioned once before on the show for some reason, but that was made by the Jim Henson Creature Shop, and the Freddy's characters kind of remind me of the dinosaurs. Now that you mention it, well, that's really cool.
Pretty much an way upgraded.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because there was times when I was wondering if they were actually CGI or if they were actually models and puppets. And so there's a spring, they call it a spring trap inside each one that it's kind of like a rib cage that's open, made of metal, and then when something goes in the middle, it goes and snaps shut.
That has to take a lot of work to build each character like that, especially if it's life size.
Yep, exactly.
God dang.
Exactly. A lot of work, a lot of craftsmanship. It takes a lot of skill. And then after I got done with the movie, I was like, oh, I should write down some notes here. And I was looking at IMDb, and I was writing down characters and actors. And the main bad guy, the villain of the whole thing, was played by Matthew Lillard. And I had no idea that was him until after I read it in the credits.
Huh.
Yeah.
Weird.
Who knew?
Yeah, who the fuck knew?
So how many out of 1 to 10 buckets of blood, how much do you give Five Nights at Freddy's?
Uh, let's see. I want to say like 5. I like it, but yet I hate it. I like it because like I do like the old like pizza style joint
Hmm.
slash Chuck E. Cheese, which brings back my childhood, like back in the day.
Right.
And then it also kind of reminds me like the whole restaurant feel. What is it called? Um, Stranger Things.
Oh yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
yeah, it reminds me of Stranger Things in a way, and I love that show.
Me too.
But I want to, and then the way I hate it is I wish there was more killing scenes.
Yeah.
I really
And
do.
it's yeah, I think that's fair. So 4, I think I'll give it a 3. I'm gonna give it even one less than you. That's a good point though. I was gonna give it only a 2, but then you mentioned Pizza Hut and the nostalgia of like the childhood, and it does have that kind of Stranger Things feel because it's like a it's like a restaurant that closed in the 80s supposedly, and so it has like
Mhm.
the like old video games and stuff in it, so it has kind of that look to it. But yeah, I thought it was too long. It's an hour and 47 minutes, and there's like a lot of just seeing the same dream over and over and over again. And I feel like there was a lot of time
Yeah,
that could have been cut. And
yeah. I If it was like an hour and like maybe 35 minutes
yeah,
or 30 minutes, they could have like cut some pieces out and make it shorter. But yeah, I do agree with that one.
definitely. All right, so that's FNAF, as the kids.
Yep, FNAF. Yep.
Yeah. Moving on to Southbound. Southbound was a fan request, and it's I think made by the same people as VHS, and it's similar in that it's a series of kind of like All Hallows Eve, where it's short stories, but they're kind of tied together. And this movie is kind of weird. What did you think of this one, Breezy?
When I first looked at it, I'm like, oh, I never heard of Southbound. So I actually like looked at it, I'm like, it's horror and it's sci-fi. Me
Yeah,
personally, I really don't like horror sci-fi. I'm
right.
really, really picky on that side.
Yep.
So I gave it a go and I'm like, okay, the first thing that came up was that big, huge, like alien looking thing. I actually do like that part.
Yeah.
But then it's like it's like kind of dull at some points. Like
Yes.
you said that to me too.
Yeah.
And there's like only like really one scene that I actually really love, and that's actually the hospital part because there's like blood, guts, and she's like laying on the table with her arms fucking coming off,
Yeah.
shoving a tube down her throat,
Yeah.
nebulizer.
Yeah, that part, and this is going to be something I'll probably say on every episode for the rest of the existence of the podcast, but that was more disgusting to me than In a Violent Nature. I thought that was way more gross and way more disgusting, that hospital part. It was cool. It was, don't get me wrong, but I was like getting all squeamish. I'm all like, I'm going to pass out.
Oh my gosh, man. You're like sitting here, all these gross things, and I'm sitting here like, God dang, I really love this scene. Give me more.
I'm not that I don't love it. I'm just saying. But yeah, you mentioned the first that starts off with two guys driving in a car, and there's like just all of a sudden they're in the desert and they're on the road and they go past a roadside and the roadside's blank, which is weird, or it looks like it was painted over. And then there's this kind of thing just sort of floating there in the desert, and they're like, and they just, and it looks like a, well, at first it looks like a like kind of like a big hairball floating there, but then it's kind of like an alien, but it's kind of like a demon slash alien slash tentacle monster
Yeah,
thing.
when I first seen it, I was like, oh my God, it's like one of those flying aliens that comes out from the sky
Yep.
and stuff. That's what I first seen. I'm like, okay, it is an alien, but the alien looks kind of fucking weird.
Yep.
And when the when the alien first got the guy, like the mouth was like opening up, and then it was kind of confusing. I think he was like getting his body into his soul or something like that.
Yeah.
It was like kind of confusing, but it's like I actually kind of like that,
Yeah. That.
considering this is a sci-fi.
Mm-hmm.
But
So what my they don't ever explain this, but what I figured out, this is my theory, film theory. No, that's don't rip that off. That's from someone else. No, but this is my theory is that since it's called Southbound, right? And then on the movie poster, there's a pentagram on the ground. And so, like in the movie Little Nicky with Adam Sandler, he's like, I'm from the South, the deep South, and he means hell. I think
Yep.
these are people that are bound for hell. So these are people that are like on their way to hell, like they've died or something happened, and they're kind of like in some sort of limbo or purgatory or whatever that's like a stop before hell. And this driving on the road is like a metaphor for going to hell. And so you get the first group. And so I think that alien demon thing was like sucking his soul to take him to real
Yep.
hell.
Yep.
And then later on in the movie, there's like pits that open up and like tentacles that come out and things like that.
I see. I kind of like that one if they had that, like
Mm-hmm.
the alien thing throughout the whole movie, but in
Mm-hmm.
different scenarios. I
Mm-hmm.
think it would. I would actually like it kind of better, and that's my opinion.
I think so. Like they could even still did an anthology, like you said, and just kept those same creatures or those same weird alien tentacly things, but have different people, like little short stories of different
Yeah.
people encountering them and what's their story, where did they come from, what the hell are they,
Yep.
But so it follows those two for a while. I agree that would be a much better movie. Then it goes to like three women that are like a band or something, and they're on a road trip and they break down and they get help from like a
Like a
couple but they're
yeah,
like
like a
religious
weird ass
wacko cults.
couple.
Yeah. So this
Yeah.
couple brings them to their house and they have like dinner, and it's like the couple and their friends, and they're just like weird ass religious cult, kind of
Yeah, and
old
then you got
fashioned.
these, yeah, and you got these like two like teenage boys, like they're twins,
Oh
and they're
yeah.
just sitting here, just like drinking the same movement,
Yup.
and you got the one of the girls that got invited to this band thing,
Mm-hmm.
and this like meat
Oh my
thing
gosh, that
kind
meat is
of,
weird.
yeah, I was like, that's not a turkey. Like, what the? It kind of reminds me of like a very, very overbaked meatloaf.
Yeah. That is what
And
it
she's like sitting here. I'm like, I am a vegetarian, and she's like, yeah, I don't give a fuck. Eat it.
yeah. She's like, you're a guest, eat our food.
Yep.
Yeah,
This is gross.
it looked like a big ball of like shredded pork or something that they
Yeah.
burnt to a crisp and then poured like oil over or something, like motor oil over or something.
Yeah. It's just like not appealing at all.
And the other two girls are like, oh, this is actually pretty good, like yum,
I doubt it.
yeah. And then they get brainwashed. The two that ate the meat, the one that was vegetarian has to escape. She gets run over by a car. Guy was busy texting and driving. He was like chatting with his wife about what dress she should wear or something. All of a sudden, blam, he runs her over. And this is probably the best part. Once that happens, it's probably the best part of the whole
Yep.
movie. That sequence is the best. Then he ends up calling 911. They tell him to take her to a hospital. It's like an abandoned, there's no people anywhere. And the people on the phone are trying to talk him through how to do the surgery. And he's like,
Yeah, and it's like at first it was like two women talking to him.
mm-hmm.
And like he was like pretty much fucking it up. What he was trying to like, and then all of a sudden, like when she and then all no, she was still barely living. And
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden this guy comes in with the two women on the phone.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then when she dies, it seems like he was excuse me, he was like a demon
Yep.
type deal. I was like, oh, that's kind of like really weird. But I actually do kind of like that scene.
Yeah. Yep. It was the 911 operator was the first woman, and then like an EMT came on, and that was the second woman, and then all of a sudden the guy came on and was like, compress the lung, compress the lung,
So probably
compress
like
the
a
lung.
doctor.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like really weird.
Yeah. And then so he basically ends up killing her. Like he ran her over and then tried to save her and finished her off. And her is it her arm or her leg that like falls off all he's
It's
carrying.
like her like, well, one of them was her arm at first, and then you got the leg.
Yeah, like twists
But
because of gravity, it like twists around and like
yeah,
rips off.
but it's like acid like coming off, like ass is like eating away, and it comes like.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, when I watch that scene, I'm like, I'm pretty sure Matt thinks this is a gross part.
Yep, I sure did. Yep. Yeah, so that was probably the highlight of the movie. And then after that, it cuts to probably the low light of the movie, which is some dude that's looking for his daughter or something, and he
Mhm.
goes to a bar and shoots a guy that's like a werewolf or a demon or something. Then he gets led to a tattoo parlor. I don't know if it's his sister or his daughter, someone. And she's like, "Oh, I don't want to be found. I like it here." And he's like, "No, I'm taking you." And then they drive into the desert. And she's like, "No, don't drive in the desert." And then the car dies. And then a bunch of naked men come out and rub him to death.
Yep.
Basically, what they just gotta
He was
go.
like doing all this. Is like, oh my
Yeah,
God, this is going to turn into like a sexual or
yeah, exactly.
that's what I thought. But
And then she just drives away. She just starts the car and drives away and is singing a little song like la 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 da da da.
yep.
Poor guy's gonna get rubbed to death by a bunch of naked old men in the desert. It happens.
I don't want to be that guy,
Yep, exactly. And then and then we, I think, is that the, it loops to a story of a guy and his daughter and his wife,
Mm.
and they're like gonna go on, she's like graduating, they're gonna go on vacation, and then these guys break in with masks and they attack and they end up killing everyone. And then one of the daughter, there's a real cool part where they let the daughter go, like they try to be nice and they're like, okay, you can go, and then she comes back and bashes the guy's head.
I don't know that scene kind of like to me was like dull and bland.
Yeah, that scene was dumb, but I like the fact that the girl came back after they let her
Yeah.
go. She came back and beat the guy up. I did like that. But yeah, that
Yep.
scene was dumb. Masks were kind of creepy. They kind of looked like the Pep Boys from the commercial, the car thing. I
Oh,
don't know.
geez.
Um, but then it turns out that the killers they take off their masks and they're the two guys from the beginning of the movie, and they get in the car and drive away and they say, "Oh my gosh, what did we do?" And then they look out and there's the thing floating in the desert, and they go to the same gas station that they were at, and it becomes a whole full 360 circle. It starts over where it ended, or ends where it started.
Yeah, that's why
The
it was
end.
like going like a star pentagram was like this, and yeah.
Yep.
It's just I do like the movie. I just wish there was like more to it. And
I,
instead
it,
of just, like, besides the well, the favorite one was the hospital and that alien thingy. But
yeah.
to me, I would give that about I don't know, I want to say like a 6.5, almost 7.
Okay. I'll give it a 6 because I think I gave In a Violent Nature 5, and I like this a little bit better. So
Oh, okay, yeah.
that's my rationale there. I have to like write down, I have to go back and listen to all the episodes and remember what I gave what movie, so I'm not like contradicting myself. Like Leprechaun, I hated it. I give it a 7.
No,
Uh
it's okay. It's okay. It's like, just, spread that apart and freaking just like, okay, no, this movie I would give it 5 stars, and this movie I would just give it this one.
Yep. But we do appreciate the fan request, and it's always nice to find something we've never heard of before. And I do kind of like horror anthology movies too. But the problem with horror anthology movies like this one, and like VHS and like All Hallows Eve and all their sequels, is that some of the sequences can be really cool and really good, and some of them can be just stupid and dumb and boring, and you're like, oh my god, just
Yeah.
get over it already.
There has to be like a reason why it's so dull and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And so I think, what else? Is there anything else we want to talk about?
No, that's pretty much it. Yeah, keep on like the fan request because we'll watch any type of movie. So
We will watch any type of movie. I saw a YouTube video called "The 10 Most Graphic, Shocking Horror Movies," and I thought, hey, maybe me and Breezy should go through this. But I thought, no, let's let the fans request them.
right.
So this
Yeah,
this is a challenge. I'm throwing down the gauntlet. Send us the request that you think is gonna disturb us the most.
Right. Yeah.
Breezy is jaded and needs a lot of horror and gore to please her.
Yeah, definitely. And I want to hear you like, oh my God, this is so sick. I almost want to barf.
Yeah. You want
It's
to
like
see me
we're
get the
so
bucket out?
opposite.
Yeah.
We love horror, but you don't like the whole gross stuff. I do.
I still like it, but I get grossed out.
Well, right.
But yeah, exactly. You don't get grossed out. You're like, yeah, give me more.
Yeah,
Love it.
I do.
And I'm like, cool.
Yep.
All right. Well, thanks so much for listening. We appreciate any comments. You can like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell anyone who'll listen, tell the mailman, and keep listening. And thanks so much.
Thank you.